pushing and pulling, it won't open, it's no good, and I'm wide awake now. I can't get no sleep.
The Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information, or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is your countdown to kickoff for our huge game in Orlando, Florida on Boxing Day. We are going to Disneyland. It is Wrexham versus Sheffield United. What a fairy tale story. What a fairy tale story of theirs. It's amazing. If you chuck 100 million at something, what an absolute fairy tale can come true. When you wish upon a star. Right. So, how are we feeling? Look, I thought I would be all. This would be the last stream. I were all planned that this would be the last stream before Christmas, and I could give you a lovely little send off with a Merry Christmas, which I will do at the end, obviously, because not everybody's going to get a chance to jump on the next one. But Chris Wilder is doing his press conference tomorrow morning. Not today, when he could have done it today, the Christmas Eve. He's doing it on Christmas Eve. So when I'd sort of schmoozed Mrs. Ramble and said, "Don't worry, love, we'll have everything tied up and done, and I'll be free all day Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, no problem at all." Well, yeah, I'm not now. So that's gone down well in our house because of when Chris Wilder's chosen to schedule his presser. So thank you, Gaffer. You've given me a headache there. I know you don't care, but it's something I've got to deal with. So I will be streaming hot off the presser. I think that's on our upcoming thing. Have I got it there? Yeah, hot off the presser. We'll be live from around 9:30 tomorrow morning, and that will be the last time I'm live before Christmas Day. I'm not, again, another thing that I'm trying not to talk too much about openly, and I wasn't going to really mention this, but I think it's probably right. If you're going to do it, then get it mentioned. We've got another channel, as you know, called Behind the Ramble, which is growing steadily all the time. If you're not already, please do go and support us over there, because we're putting some good content out on Ramble FC, and some also trying to build up the content that we're putting out on Behind the Ramble. But I'm thinking about going live on Christmas Day, not to talk about football, it'll be on Behind the Ramble just for an hour later in the day, probably when it's quieter, when everybody's falling asleep and after King's speech and everything else. But I just think, it's not an amazing day for everybody, is it? So for those that are on their own and fancy joining me to talk a bit of gibberish for a half hour or so, however long people want to do it, I just thought I'd open it up and let people join me on my Christmas Day for a little bit. So that's something I'm planning on doing when I can drop it into the wife, or when she's asleep on the sofa and I can just creep off for half an hour. Because, you work all the time, blah, 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 blah. You need some family time. And obviously I need some family time. I cannot wait to have the family time that we're going to have. But we've also got a press conference to cover, haven't we? So we'll be here tomorrow morning for our final live before the big day, as it is the day before anyway. But now we're looking forward to the Wrexham fixture. So, and I am looking forward to it. Not just looking forward to it as in going to address it. I am looking forward to it again. The performance that we put out against Birmingham City has, as I said in the after party, thank you again for all the kind comments on the after party. But as I said in the after party, it's convinced me, and I may be letting myself go too early, that the turn of form that we saw prior to us dropping points against Norwich and West Brom was that is the team that we are. It wasn't like a purple patch that we had of 4 to 6 games and then we crashed back down to earth with Norwich and West Brom. I feel like it was circumstantial with the illness and the injuries, and we weren't the only club to suffer that. It's not an excuse, but I think I think it rationalises it in my head that we are a good side at this level, and returning to that level that we've shown previously against Birmingham, I think has assured me that we are on the right path. There's a few things we can get into tonight if you want, after I cough. It's nearly gone, but it's just still lingering about. But there's links to Jack Clark today, which is interesting. Links to Harry Clark, both of Ipswich Town. It's been out in the news that COH, our ownership group, were late in a payment to Prince Abdullah. I'm not going to talk too much on that. I do know I can confirm it's true. They were. The only thing I would like to think is that it is a matter of choosing not to pay rather than could not pay. And that is morally useless. It's poor. It's a business move, isn't it? It's not, these are ruthless, high-level businessmen that we're talking about. So it's poor for their conduct, but from a fan perspective, if that is the case, then I'd rather that they chose not to pay than they couldn't pay. So that's the interpretation I have of it. That it's not that they haven't got the brass, because we know that they're all very wealthy individuals. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to pour a lot of money into Sheffield United, but they can always pay it. That's not an issue or a concern of mine. I just think it's quite poor that you've chosen to be late in payments to leverage whatever, or for whatever reason it was. That is, it's not great, but I don't think it's quite as concerning as some fans appear to have taken it. So, what do we think then? We're going to get into this preview, and then we're going to get into your comments as well. And we can touch on the transfer speculation if you want, but we're not going to be on for ages tonight. So that we always start with the previous lineups. And what did you think when you saw this lineup come out? Because, and I think I've been quite steadfast with this, I always like to get my thoughts out. Either if I'm not on stream at the time, I like to say it to a few people that can understand how I feel about it, and I like to get their opinions as well, because I think it's very easy to judge after the fact. If we'd have got beat by Birmingham, then a lot of people would have said, "Oh, it's because he played this formation. It's because he picked so and so. It's because he put Chong in. It's because he put so and so in." I like to capture that moment of when the team first comes out. What do people think? Because my first impressions of this team were that is probably the best 11 that we can field. The only problem is, and it was a problem to me, or not, it was a concern. It definitely means one up top. And a lot of Tony said it in his Ramble on the Road as well. He saw one up top and he thought, I'm not sure about this. But if you look at the personnel in terms of how they've played this season as well, I think it's a really strong side. So I wasn't overly enamoured with the fact that we were going back to one up top. But I loved the lineup itself. So those were my thoughts going into it. And you obviously trust the manager, don't you? Or you should be trusting the manager at this stage in terms of the turnaround that he's sort of led. And we went into the game and we were great. Just for anybody that doesn't know, we lined up as a 4-2-3-1. Michael Cooper in goal. It was Sariki at right back. Tanganga on the right side of defence, which is really important. Tyler Binden, who had a fantastic game on the left side of defence. And McCallum, who also had a very good game, but he was slightly overshadowed by other players because players like Binden and Riedeveld played really well, but McCallum had another really strong game. In the middle were Riedeveld and Ollie Arblaster. We got 70 minutes out of Ollie Arblaster. Really, really good to see him coming back into the side. Just when we need him, we see he out injured as well. On the right, it was Tahith Chong. On the left, it was Gus Hamer. In the 10, it was Callum O'Hare. And up front was Bamford is a Rambler. You know it. You know it. So, really good. Really enjoyed it. And it was clearly set up because Birmingham got two really strong centre halves. We didn't really see it during the game. But I think it was really effective the way that we used our formation to throw them off. And they didn't really know how to handle us as a one up top with Callum O'Hare between the lines. Thought it were really good. Really clever. So, what do I think we'll play next time? Let's go to our predicted lineups then. I think he'll go with the same again. And I think he should go with the same again. in all honesty. If everybody is fit and everybody is available, and we've had, how many days have we had between? It'll be, 6 days? Because it's a Friday, isn't it, Boxing Day? Is it a Friday? Yeah, it's a Friday. I think so. Who knows? You lose track of days, don't you, over this random period. So I think, again, he'll go Cooper in goal, a back four, Sariki, Tanganga, Bindon and McCallum. I think Ollie and Riedeveld will be in the middle. Chong on the right, Gus on the left, O'Hare in the 10, and Big Pat up front. So, I'm really happy with that side. And again, because of the performance, the team that I would pick is the team that Chris Wilder would pick, because he's the gaffer and he's just led us to a brilliant 3-0 victory. It's all right, us wanting to mix it up and do our own thing. And to be honest, I wouldn't change it anyway. But even if I thought, oh, maybe this, maybe that, I think it's over to the manager, isn't it, with these sort of things. But you let me know your teams and how you would play for this game, how you would set up. On to the fairy tale club that is Wrexham, AFC Wrexham, the Red Dragons. Their previous lineup, they play, in fact, I had it up here. I've had it up for a little while, so I can't find it now. That's typical, isn't it? So they play with a 3-5-2. And we'll come to that on the opposition breakdown here. So they play with a 3-5-2. And the last time out against Swansea, they were poor. I thought they were really poor. I watched it. It was a Friday night game. And Okonkwo in goal, I rate him. And he were a player that we wanted to have a look at. They dropped him for... Who's the kid they dropped him for? The lad from Leicester that hadn't been getting many games. Backup goalkeeper, don't know, can't remember his name off the top of my head. But they dropped him, and to be fair, he's been very good for him until this game against Swansea, where he dropped an absolute clanger to gift Swansea the winner in the last minute. So yeah, unfortunate for them. But you know, hey-ho and all that. They have a back three. And last time out, they played a back three of... let's have a look. Have we got the right fixture there? Roughly, it's Hyam, Cleworth and Doyle at the back. So Hyam in the middle of the three. In the centre of midfield, it's Dobson, Ben Sheaf, Ben Sheaf, and Thomason. I don't know how Thomason's getting in. I don't know much about him in all honesty. But Longman on the right, McLean on the left, who will not be in the side because he's just been banned for a nasty kick to Ronald's head, which it was a kick. It's Windass and Moore up front. I have actually previewed this game with Cal Fowler on our the Jim and Cal football show, which is on the channel now if you want to go and watch it after this live, obviously. He's convinced, we did a combined 11 like we do for every upcoming game. He's convinced that Windass and Moore get in over Callum O'Hare and Patrick Bamford. If anybody wants to go on over to his channel or comment on the stream and give him some stick for that, I think he deserves it. There is no way that he's, spoiler alert, he's pals with Josh Windass. He knows Josh Windass, so I expect him to back his mate, but he don't get in over Callum O'Hare. And Kiefer Moore, I like Kiefer Moore. I've been a big supporter of him when he were at Sheffield United, as you know. Patrick Bamford's a better player, I have to say. There's not much in it. That, you know, I'm not too precious about it, but one of his arguments was, you put Kiefer Moore in this Sheffield United side and he scores a bag full of goals. Well, we did put Kiefer Moore in this Sheffield United side and he didn't score a bag full of goals. Anyway, that's the new show for you guys. So that is the lineup. Obviously, McLean will need to be replaced. Lewis O'Brien was on the bench for this game, came on, got injured. He's out for a period of time. We love Lewis O'Brien. I think he's a very good player. Not sure why we're on the bench for Wrexham. This Thomason must be some player, number 14, but, you know, one of them things. But players like Callum Doyle, we really rate, obviously. Left-sided centre-half, playing in a back three, would have fit lovely into our system. And the other one is Ben Sheaf that stands out to me. But they're two, like, quality ball-playing footballers. A ball-playing centre-half in Doyle and a cultured midfielder in Sheaf who are playing Sunday League football with Wrexham, kick and rush. And it's not great. It's not great stuff. So they're in poor form as well. They've lost the last. They've not won in 5. They've lost the last game. Drawn 2, lost 1, drawn and lost is their form currently. The manager is Phil Parkinson. We had a great show that we recorded last night on football therapy. In fact, I think I've got a thing for it, actually. So we were doing a mid-season championship review. Mark Meldrew stepping in to replace the Man Mountain last minute. Thank you for that, pal. And we discussed how every team's going. And one of the categories was who might be the next manager to be sacked. So that's gone out at 10 o'clock this morning. We recorded it last night. Went out at 10 o'clock this morning. A lot of us were saying that Chris Davis at Birmingham, after seeing that, was going to be the one to be the next one to go. I think next manager sacked. I thought Phil Parkinson might be in with a shout because they're plummeting, and I think Wrexham won't be sentimental in getting rid of him, even though he's the man that's taken them up through the leagues. I think they have a vision for the club, and I think Parky needs to turn these results round and quick. Spoiler alert for anyone who's not aware. Just before our stream came out, this is the danger of recorded stuff. And we don't usually do recorded stuff on this channel because we like to do live stuff. I don't have to edit live stuff, if I'm honest. But then I set these up as live. And there were only a short turnaround between. But Gary Rowett got sacked as Oxford manager at about 9 o'clock this morning, which kind of sort of killed that topic on football therapy last night. But obviously we cover an awful lot more. So give that a bit of love if you can. In fact, tonight, after this stream on Ramble FC, there'll be top 20 takes at 8 o'clock. Then at 9 o'clock, there's All Aboard the Championship. We're still pumping out loads of content for you, for anybody that wants a bit of football chat in their downtime over the Christmas period. Thank you to everyone that supports us. But yeah, so this is the way that Wrexham will shape up to face us, I believe. And does that mean we'll go again with one up top because they've got 3 centre-halves? Or do you think we'll go 2 up top this time and try and split the 3 defenders? Interesting to see how that goes. I'm struggling to think he changes it. After the success that we had against Birmingham. But this is a new Chris Wilder. We talked about it on 3 Mardy Blades. It's a new Chris Wilder. In fact, I think we spoke briefly about it on football therapy as well. I think it's a new Chris Wilder that's showing adaptability. And I'm convinced that he went with the 4-2-3-1 against Birmingham because Birmingham were the opposition. Rather than thinking, we're Sheffield United, we've got better players and we'll just beat them in a ding-dong. It was a tactical change to counter some of the strengths that Birmingham had. Will he change again to face Wrexham and what threats they come with? Does Tyler Bindon, despite him playing really well, and for me was man of the match, I would not take him out of the side. But would anybody be shocked to see Mark McGuinness come in for that aerial ability? Mark McGuinness, probably our best aerial threat in the squad. Is there a chance he comes back in to counteract Kiefer Moore, who I've got as their key man here? There's a chance he does, and that was something that me and Cal spoke about. I would love to see, and I think they deserve to go again, Bindon and Tanganga, and I think we will. But all these things will come into Wilder's thinking. When Kiefer Moore is one of the biggest aerial threats in the Championship, and we can probably counter that with McGuinness. But then you're losing a little bit that Bindon gives you as well, I think. So, really interesting. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. And I think the only thing left for me to do now is give you my score prediction. How do I think we'll go against... Can I just also, before I do, can we just show some love for this badge that Tom Barnsley, as Tom Not From, has done for us? He did the same with the Sheffield Wednesday badge, where he changed the character that was, let's say, that was on their badge. And this is the brilliant work of Tom Barnsley. I'm not sure how many of you noticed it. Fair play to those that did. But this is the new Wrexham badge to be used on the Blades Ramble. And I love it. I love it. Really talented man. Nice one, Tom. Hope you're good, mate. Looking forward to seeing more of you next year. As he's now got a job back in Sheffield, so that'll be good. So there, score prediction. I am going with 2-0 to the Blades. I think we are a good side this year. Well, I said this year. I think we're a good side now. And I think 2026, the second half of this season, should be kinder to Sheffield United than the back half of 2025 has been, because we've got Chris Wilder, and I'm really excited about what we could do. Not that we will, but what we could do. And as long as there's hope, there's a chance to keep going in there, and there's a reason to get up and go again. And I think there is hope. I can't see. Look, they might fluke one. Wrexham, it might, they might get a set piece, and Kiefer Moore leaps like a salmon and gets it, nods one in. But I think we've got more than enough to beat these. I don't fear anybody at the moment in the division. That doesn't mean I think we'll beat everybody. Of course not. I'm not delusional to that effect. But we're a good side. We're a good side, and we're coming more around to our potential now, I believe. So I'm excited. We will be here to watch it all live on the watch along. I believe Bald and Brilliant Lee will be joining me for this watch along. I don't know Ben Mees on the thumbnail, but I did it a little while ago. So yeah, it's Wrexham versus Sheffield United. Boxing Day will be here from 5 o'clock. I think it's an 5:30 kickoff. We'll be here from 5 o'clock on Boxing Day. So join us as we talk you through Sheffield United's Boxing Day fixture. So let's get into your comments then, and if you want to chat about anything else, as I say, we can do. And then we'll get off, and because you see me again in the morning, aren't you? Or most of you will do. S17 says, "Evening, Jim. Seen this morning we've been linked with Jack Clark." Oh, there we go, straight into it. Thoughts? Surely we can't get this deal done. Too much brass plus features for Ipswich up the Ramble. I've had a little look at this. If you ask me to have a bet on it, then I would say it probably doesn't happen. I think he is a high-ticket player in this division. I think he's one of those that always plays well at Championship, or most times plays well at Championship level. Maybe he's questionable in the league above, but I think he's a real asset for anybody at this level. He improves us as a side. He improves most teams in this league. I'm surprised he's not starting week in, week out for Ipswich. They must have one hell of a squad if he's not playing week in, week out, which I don't think he is. I know he's featuring. You're right to say he's featuring S17, but he's not in every week. He's a left winger, ultimately. And that's where Gus plays. That's the only real reservation I've got. Can he play on the right? I don't know enough about him to know if he can effectively play on the right. Because if he's solely a left winger, like Tanganga is solely a right centre-back, which we've found out, doesn't mean, just because he's a centre-back, doesn't mean he can play on the left side centre-back, because I don't think he can as effectively. And it's the same with wingers sometimes. Like, I don't think Gus would be as effective on the right because he can't cut in to the same, on the same natural side, if you like. Jack Clark, I think, will be the same. So I'd need to know a little bit more about how he can play. I'd need to watch him a little bit. But by all means, let's bring him in if we can. I think it'd be a great deal. I think it'd be a lot of money. The thing I think it does do is sets the expectations of the fan base. This has been released by the Sheffield star, Danny Hall, which tells me there's weight to it, because Danny doesn't run with stories that aren't. He's close to the club, as you know. And he don't risk his reputation for stories that there's nothing to. So if this doesn't happen as a transfer, it doesn't mean it's not being talked about. And that sets the expectations for the club. So that's not been leaked, but that tells the fans we're going for it in January. And a lot of people close to the club that I know are telling me we're going for it in January. And I don't know how I feel about it. I do. I'm excited, of course I am. And I want us to always go for it. But I always have a little bit of reservation as to, what about next season? What about next year? Because we no longer have parachutes. So if we chuck everything at it this year, then we've got some serious repercussion work to do next season. I'm trying not to think like that and be overly cautious. And if we end up going for it, then I'll be all in. I'll absolutely be all in, but I do have a little bit of caution at the back of my mind. So Jack Clark, brilliant. I think it would have to be a loan, unless we're going balmy. They're untested, aren't they, these owners? The last thing we saw them do with Wilder was splash on Tom Cannon. So will they do it again with Jack Clark in January? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Sheila says, heard from two different sources recently that do could be offered to the MLS. Could that be interested? Could that be the interest in Jack Clark? As for Windass better than O'Hare, is Cal deluded or what? Yes, I think he might be. Sheila. I think previously Bamford has sort of said he'll end up in the MLS. I'll be amazed if he doesn't finish the season at Sheffield United. I'll be amazed. Because he could get a promotion to Premier League here. And then you've got to think he'll probably, if we do get promoted, and it's very unlikely, don't get me wrong, Very unlikely, but he can certainly have a good season with Sheffield United. On the outside chance that we do get promoted, he'll be offered a contract with us again, undoubtedly. Even though he'll end up 34, I think, by the end of that second year. So he could end up in the Premier League again. I'll be amazed if Patrick Bamford doesn't sign at least until the end of the season for Sheffield United. I think he will end up in the MLS at some stage, but maybe 1 to 2 years' time. We'll have to wait and see. Sheila says, by the way, a very happy Christmas to you, Jimmy, and your family. Thank you, Sheila. Very Merry Christmas to you and yours. So, same greetings to all Ramblers. Congratulations on 2025. Been a good year for you. It's been a great year, hasn't it? It's been a great year. So, thank you to everybody that's helped us out with that. Ontario Blade says, first I want to thank Jamie Dumpling and Lee for putting us straight regarding Tanganga's 5 yellow card situation. Yeah, for those that the relief is available. For those that are still confused on the situation, yes, I've included Tanganga in mine, and Wild has predicted 11. He did pick up his 5th yellow card of the season, I believe, but that reset at 19 games where, I think it's now you have to have 10 before you're banned, before game 30 odd. So if he'd need to get his 5 yellow cards before game 19, and he didn't. He got them on game 21 or 22. So he is clear to play for anybody that's worried. Here's my team for Disney SC. 4-2-2-1-1. Cooper, Sariki Tanganga, Bindon McCallum, Gyro and Blaster in the middle, Chong, Gus, Callum Ware and Bamford. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So he's going with the same team as me, as most I think will probably say that they'd be happy with. I agree with you. I think it's John, isn't it? But yeah, absolutely right. I can see us smashing these, says Positive Jack. Don't let it. Oh, mate. Keep Windass and more quiet and we'll be fine. Gyro and our Blaster will run that midfield. I'd like to think so. Be defensively solid across crosses and set pieces. I'm not too sure I'd go one up top, though. Interesting. At 92 Sparta. 92 Sparta has become a Rambler. Thank you very much for your support. I don't know if that's Andy who's just joined our WhatsApp group. If anybody's interested in joining our Ramblers, I've put a community post on. So if you go to our YouTube page, you'll be able to see all the details of that and lets you know how you can do it. There's also a link in the description of this video, as there is on every one. Paul says, hi, Jimmy, mate. Thank you, 92 Sparta, for doing that. Paul says, hi, Jimmy, mate. Hope you're well. I'm going for a Boxing Day 3-0 Blades win. Gus and Paddy and Chong to score. All the best, buddy, to you and the family. In Tufty and Nilly we trust to grind wins out. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Thank you, my mate. Merry Christmas to you too. Peake says, hang on a second. I've got this blower on here. It's red hot now. Freezing when I first come in here and then gets too hot. Pete says, if we play like we did on Saturday, no one's stopping us, and we can beat anyone else, a side that plays prison football, as Carl says, up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. I agree. I don't fear anybody at the moment. Mark Meldrew says, evening, Jimmy Pal. Hope you're well and ready for a busy festive period of football. Just want to say have a fantastic break with the family and enjoy it, but enjoy it by being disciplined. Roll on Wrexham. I fancy us. They have some injury doubts, and McLean's now out for 3 games. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the football therapy, up the marked by Meldrew. Yes, it was. He's got a fair few that's watched him recently on Marked by Meldrew. Thank you to Mark for joining in and becoming more involved in the channel this year. I've really enjoyed you joining in with us, pal. And yeah, Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. But again, I'll probably see you tomorrow morning, won't I? On stream anyway. Peake says, West Brom was a blip. Too many forced changes due to illness. Straight back to scoring 3 goals per game. You've got to stick to facts and form. 3-0 win to the Blades incoming and leapfrogging Wrexham. We could go up to 14th, I think Statman Jack said, before he'd put his Apple JD in his Yorkshire tea the other day. Happy 30th birthday, belated 30th birthday for yesterday, pal. Or day before, whenever it was. Yeah, so we could start climbing this table, and that gives Wilder certainly a lot more bargaining power for January, not only with the board, but with prospective signings as well, in terms of what we could end up doing this season. Bisto Brett says, evening, Jimmy. I can see us turning the screw on these. If we get that high press on point again, it'll be a good day for us. Franny Wilder, she's one of our own. Leave her alone, mate. Leave her alone. I hope you have a great Christmas, my mate, and all the Ramblers that make this channel what it is, all Blades together. Thank you, my mate. Merry Christmas to you and your family. And I'll see you very, very soon. Joe says, heard James McLean is injured. He's not injured, I don't think. He's banned, pal. I think he's banned for that kick to Ronald's head, the dirty swine. Personally, I'm devastated as I've been practicing my hand gestures all day. And I know you meant band. Yeah, I know you meant band. Okay, no worries, pal. Dave Morwood says, even if we have to go to the Deadpool United and come back with 3 points, another wilder tactical plan. Up all the rambles, up the blades, up the positive 6. Merry Christmas to all. Please like and subscribe. I'm just going to shout out a quick thank you to both Nick Cook and Gail Coulson, who have just sent direct payment to the Blade Ramble, which I assume is an early Christmas present. Thank you very much. Very kind of you both. And it's very much appreciated. You don't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. Dave the Nose says, "Evening, Jim. I'm catching up on the painting and I should have been doing it on Sunday. You were no chance you were painting on Sunday, pal. Not a chance. Another 3 points, please. I fancy us. Yeah, me too. Me too. Hope I see you tomorrow on off the presser, pal. But if not, have a great Christmas. You and Aaron and Kate. Wrexham are a massively overrated team. I can't wait to turn them over," says Tom Not From. This is Tom Barnsley, who has done the brilliant. Let's see if we can get which one's better for doing it. The brilliant Wrexham logo. Top man. Top man. Good lad. Batman Lou with a £20 super chat. Thank you, mate. That's very, very kind of you. We've got this, Jimmy. Blades to win 3-1, a Christmas donation on behalf of the Positive Blades. Merry Christmas to all of the Ramblers. Up the Ramble. Lou, absolutely top man. As I say, Lou is co-presenter with Paul the Man Mountain on Top 20 Takes and All Aboard the Championship. That's 2 new shows that we've got on Ramble FC, and they're coming on after I've finished on here. So we've got it scheduled for Top 20 Takes, the Premier League review show at 8 o'clock on Ramble FC, and then at 9 o'clock it's All Aboard the Championship. So, and that's the Championship review show, obviously. So thank you to Lou. Another one, like Mark Meldrew, who's come on board this year and got more involved. I mean, Mark Meldrew's been a Platinum Rambler for ages, but Lou has also become more involved in the channel, and I love it. And thank you to everybody that contributes and participates. So yeah, love it, and thank you again for the super chat, mate. It's very much appreciated. Dad says, last time I went to Wrexham, they beat us 4-1. Hoping not to repeat the score, that score this year. Yeah, let's not hope that doesn't happen, pal. Jihan says, what's this on Clark? What do you think? I've given my opinion on Jack Clark. So that's one that you can see me talking about. But Harry Clark is another one that's been rumoured, who was with us last season. I wouldn't necessarily be a huge fan of this. It's another body, which he comes in. He's definitely behind Sariki in the pecking order if he comes in. It is a rotation option that I'm more comfortable with than, say, a Shackleton or putting Tanganga out at right back or Matos, which we've seen previously. It does upgrade us in the backup stakes, but I think we can do better, if I'm honest. Hamza Chowdhury would be the one for me. Ray says, good evening, Jimmy, and all. I can see us scoring, getting a 3-0 win at Disneyland. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a great time. One and all, up the blades, up all the rambles, like and subscribe. Thank you, Ray. Merry Christmas to you, pal. Really positive about Wrexham, says Dex. Hopefully another good performance from the lads. Bindon looking class, permanent in January, up the blades, up the ramble. Not many would be against that, would they, after the performance against Birmingham? I think we'd all be up for that. A good win against Birmingham, though. Birmingham were woeful, says Blades Edits. These owners have done no good, says Jihan. I think there's certainly a lot of holes to pick. You can certainly criticise them for an awful lot. I think there's things you can praise them for as well, in retrospect. And not only that, I think we'll all have formulated a stronger opinion one way or the other after January, won't we? If they sign Jack Clark for 12 million, 15 million quid, then it's a real statement, isn't it? It's really backing the manager. Wilder seems really happy at the moment, and that is positive for me. So that's what I'm thinking about. I liked our team, just wasn't sure we won up top, says Jack, due to our inability to create in the past. Yeah, I think that's fair. Dan Chap, who's been a member for 6 months. Thank you, pal. Evening, Jimmy. Finally managed to catch a live with the run up to Christmas. Up the blades, up the ramble. Yeah, it's chaos in it for a lot of us. I tell you what, as well, I've just finished. I came in early. I am useless at. I'm not going to show you actually, but I've just finished wrapping wife's presents. I did it yesterday before I went on stream, and I worked out I'd only got her 3 things. We've spent an absolute fortune on kids, and her stuff weren't cheap, but you can't just give her 3 things on Christmas. Or I can't anyway. So I've been out today, Anna, and got rest at stuff. So I've been rapping before I've come on. I am useless at rapping. I remember when this is a massive tangent, but when I lived with my dad, it was just me and my dad living together, and he used to manipulate me as a child and say, "Your job, because you're the best at it, is you're going to put the tree up and decorate it." And I felt really proud that, yeah, Dad trusts me to put the tree up and decorate it. Was just because he couldn't be bothered. He could not be bothered himself. It's not a job he was ever asked about. So it was my job. Thanks, Dad. Thanks. Yeah, I'll decorate it to the best standard I can. I cannot wait till my girls are old enough, and they are now, but they're probably rap worse than me at the moment. Next year might be the one where Emily's able to rap for her mummy on behalf of Daddy. So that we might have gone out of that one, because Sam does rest at rapping for everything, and they look great. But yeah, mine aren't that good. Chariots of Wire says, need a solid start to keep the crowd quiet. High press. We know Keith don't have pace. No good getting involved in a battle. We need quick passing and movement through the midfield. Merry Christmas, all Blades. Thank you, pal. Don't we struggle with long balls over the top? That's their game. We didn't against Birmingham, did we? We didn't against Birmingham. So I think we found a good combination. Yes, it's one game, but we looked really good at the back. So I'm not counting us out against anybody at the minute, Jack. Dan says, heard Wilder's wanting Harry Clark back from Ipswich. There's not had a sniff there as backup to Sariki. No chance of Jack Clark. Too much money, and we have to balance the books with no promotion this season. Yeah, I think that is overall going to be how it works out. The running Bladesman. I'd never liked O'Hare and Hamer in the same team. It's never really worked effectively, but with Bamford leading the line, we now have the option of getting them both in the team. Well said. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, Dave. Completely agree with you. David Vinter says, watching this from my hospital bed. Sorry to hear that, pal. Then Blades and the Ramble are keeping me smiling. I take a scrappy 1-0 from Disney FC. Stoke away will be difficult. I take a draw, the strength, and then strengthening Jan up the Blades and up all the Rambles. Get well soon, pal. Hope you'll be out in time for the big day. But if not, you know, you just have to enjoy it when you're out with your family. So thank you, pal. And we're thinking about you, mate. Dan says, get well soon, Mr. Vinter. Absolutely right. Al says, R, Jim lad. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the Jim lad. R. I'm convinced. Thank you for your £2 super chat. I'm convinced that you put these on just to make me look daft. But I'll do it. I'll take it. I am that. I am that appreciative for the £2 super chat. God, I hope the Harry Clark rumours are not true, says Adam. He's not a terrible player. He's not a terrible player, but he's back up into it. And what we want is competition. We want somebody that can come in for Sariki and you think, right, it's not a step down. Sariki himself isn't the finished article, but he can't just go 46 games playing 90 minutes. So we do need an alternative. And I'd rather it not be just a backup. I want it to be competition. God, I hope Harry Clark rumours are not true. Oh, yeah, I've just read that one, Anna. Jimmy, would you sell Peck to fund rebuilding and to keep him? No. If we are going to go for it, then I think we keep the squad together as a priority this season, because I think this squad currently is good enough to go for the playoffs, and I'd rather we kept the squad and didn't lose anybody and didn't buy anybody in January. I'd rather we did no business than sold Hamer or Peck to bring in a couple of decent players, because then we're juggling already, aren't we? So I think we'll just strengthen this year, and the players that leave the club will be players that we choose to leave the club, other than if we get a ridiculous bid for Peck or Hamer. Every player is for sale at every club. So the right price comes in and they're going. But yeah, I wouldn't proactively be selling Peck or Hamer, to be fair. Nick Cook, legend. Thank you very much again, pal. Evening, Jimmy and the Ramblers. Merry Christmas. Feeling very confident about this match. Nothing less than 3 goals for us. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, my mate. Dave Vinter says, thank you, Daniel. I'll be good in a couple of months. Hope so, mate. Hope so. Quicker than that, hopefully. But you take as long as you need. We're all behind you, mate. And if I know you support us, so if you want to jump back in the group, you're more than welcome. Dan says, heard Pecky's going to the Premier League for 20 million, then reloaned back to us for the rest of the season. Only what I've heard. There was some chatter about that in one of the live chats on one of the shows we were doing, because we've been on an awful lot, haven't we, recently? But I would take that deal. £20 million is a great young player, and in an ideal world, you'd keep him and you'd build around him. But I'm taking 20 million quid and a loan back for the rest of the season, because we've got to understand the position that we're in. And if that means we can in the summer, yeah, we might have to still sell Gus Hamer to balance the books. But if that means that we keep Ollie Arblaster, we keep Tanganga, we're able to buy Bindon, we keep Cooper, I think Bamford gets another deal, we can extend Gyro's deal because of that money we've got in, I'd do it. I'd do it personally. Gian says, if Mark McGuinness plays, I'm not watching it. Mark, the American Blade from Portland, Oregon, I believe. Is it Portland, Oregon? I don't want to mess that up, but I think it is. 3-1 Blades. Wilder goes 4-2, 3-1 to match up with Wrexham's 3-1-4-2 in the midfield. Interesting. Nice tactical breakdown from you there, Mark. Hope you're well, pal. Is Ben Mee back for it? I don't think he is. I don't know, to be honest. We'll find out. We'll likely find out tomorrow. Well, we won't, will we? He won't tell us in press conference. We'll find out on Boxing Day. That's when we'll find out. And we will be here with the watch-along. As you know, I wasn't ready for that, were I? We'll be here with the watch-along. Even though Ben Mee's on the thumbnail, don't read anything into that. So, yeah, join us for the watch-along. Another cheeky plug there. Carl says, with how O'Hare was doing his usual high press on Saturday, it was like we had two up top and probably why it worked so well. Carl earlier picking more on Windass over O'Hare and Bamford is madness. I agree. But that's... Stay tuned for the new year. There's something really good coming from myself, Cal, and someday, we've got some big plans for the new year. Hursty says, evening, Jimmy. Hope you and all the members have a great Christmas. I think Wrexham is a big one. Now everyone has found their fitness. It's nice to know that James McLean is suspended for Boxing Day. Yeah, it is. Get him go. Horrible player. What's this with the Prince issuing a possible winding up order, says Danny, over non-payment of 10 million by COH Sports. I haven't read the article. I just know a little bit about it, that COH Sports were late with paying the first instalment to Prince Abdullah. As I said earlier, and Chariots of Fire said there, it's been paid, Danny. It has been paid. It was paid late, and I'd like to think that was through choice, even though it's a poor way of doing business. I'd like to think that was didn't pay rather than couldn't pay. Let's have a look. Do we have a sell on with Bogle? Apparently Everton are in for him, says Andrew. Don't know. Don't think so. It wouldn't surprise me if we did, but I wouldn't hang your hat on it. It won't be huge money. Hursty says, evening, Jimmy. It's nice to be in a position where we have different formations that seemingly would work, unlike before, where we were finding something to work. Yes, 92 Sparta is me. Nice one. Oh, thank you, pal. Now then, Jimmy, I've been with you from the start, says Broke Fanatics, and we need those in-betweeners memes back. In-betweeners memes? What in-betweeners memes did I used to put on? Oh, it's funny. One of them. I love in-betweeners, so I can't remember. Feisty one you are. I changed my name because I started uploading shorts of my fish tanks. It serves you right for Muscat. All right, any subscribers welcome. Thank you, mate. Well, very best with that. Uploading shorts of your fish tanks. Interesting. There'll be a market for everything on YouTube, mate, and I wish you well with it. Andy says, hi, Jimmy, Merry Christmas and a big thanks for your excellent hosting of all things Blades. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Andy. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for the compliment. It's by luck rather than skill or design. But thank you, mate. I appreciate it. I love being able to. I'm so privileged to be able to do what I do. And yeah, the fact that you all watch and support us is incredible, so thank you. Statman Jack says, evening, mate. No O'Brien and no Clown McLean. If they play how they did against Swansea, then it suits us. Nothing to fear, everything to gain. Merry Christmas to you and your family, mate. Thanks for everything you do and for being a great friend. Oh, thank you, mate. Don't make me cry on stream. Merry Christmas to all the Ramblers and Happy New Year. HMS Sheffield United, full steam ahead in January. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Statman Jack, another fantastic addition to the channel this year. So thank you, mate, for getting more involved. Love it, absolutely love it. The community we have created here together, all of us, is brilliant. Whether you're a Platinum Rambler like a lot of these guys are, whether you're a Rambler, whether you're a subscriber, whether you like the streams, we're all part of it. We're all Sheffield United fans that want the best for the club, and I come on here and talk a load of rubbish about us, and it's just my opinion. Please don't get too steadfast about whatever I say, because it's my opinion. That's all it is, and it doesn't mean any more than what your opinion is. It's just I'm talking about it and giving people hopefully a bit of a place to come and share theirs as well. Mark's received a gift. Oh, Mr. CRU has received a gift of thank you to Mark Cunley, who's gifted a membership there. Very much appreciated. Danny Chap giving you some applause there. Ontario Blade says, Jimmy, with all the different shows you have, you are really the Swiss Army knife of YouTube. Is that the Smith blade? Nice. Thank you. No, to be fair, it's more to give. Obviously, we want to grow what is essentially the business now, but there's in all fairness, Ramble FC has been sort of put out there to talk about wider football topics, and we'll cover the Premier League, the Championship. I honestly cannot do all the shows that we are now doing because I haven't got the time. I have to. I'm doing all the stuff in the background as well, and hopefully we get to a stage where I'll be able to get some help with that at some stage. But it's also an opportunity for me to give Platinum Ramblers a go at being on their own show. You look at, like, it started with Three Mighty Blades, where it was originally just me on the Blades Ramble. Then it was me, Man Mountain, and Dave the Nose, who I think are not only great on the show, but brilliant lads. And yes, we give each other stick all the time, but I think the chemistry between us is fantastic. And that sort of opened my eyes to, can we get other people involved and see what they can bring? And then on 90 After 90, you sort of have people becoming regular faces, but also characters like Jamie Dumpling. He gets stopped everywhere now, and rightly so, because he's a great addition to the channel. And different, Mark by Meldrew, because Meldrew comes on and he was miserable at one point about United, and it's changed a little bit now, but it's about giving other people a bit of a platform as well. And I think Ramble FC can be that place where it's not just me. Bald and Brilliant Lee, Jord Motson, me and Jord have been doing watch-alongs now for a year or so, probably longer. It were behind the Ramble before it were Ramble FC, and we were watching all sorts of different championship games. So I'd like to do stuff like that similar again, but I don't want to oversaturate it at the same time. So yeah, I love it, Ontario Blade. Thank you for that. But it's a team effort, particularly with Ramble FC, in terms of what people are putting into that channel. It's brilliant. Rich Littlewood says, good evening, Jimmy. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and to all the Blades Ramble. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Rich. Merry Christmas to you and yours, pal. Lee says, evening, Jim. Agree with your team. Also fancy a 2-0 win. It's a bit like football therapy where you just copy everything I say, isn't it, Lee, really? A push to the top 6 from now on is definitely on the cards. I stand by our vote that Davies from Brum will be the next manager sacked from now. Have a great Christmas, and we'll catch you for the watch along Friday as a substitute to Mr. Motson. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, Mr. Edridge. Bald and Brilliant Lee. Yes, absolutely right. Merry Christmas to you and your family again. I think that's probably the 5th time I've said it to you, but who knows when it'll be the last time I say it to you. So yeah, thank you, mate. You will soon be a starter in front of Mr. Motson if he keeps paying me off to go on nights out, days out, all this sort of thing. He's become a little bit like Man Mountain, where he just thinks he can pick and choose what he does. So if he gets a little bit too big for his boots, old man on the mic, then Bald and Brilliant Lee might have to step into the breach. Yeah, you warned, Jord Motson. Cooler King says, promotion seems unlikely for the Blades, just as the league title seems unlikely for the Villa, but you have to be positive, ambitious, and believe it is possible. Pistol Brett always says, believe, achieve. Who knows? Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you too, Cooler King. Thank you for all the support you've given us this year, pal. Very much appreciated. Danny says, when you're doing another Battle Lines with Connor, if you're going to do one, whenever he asks me, mate, it's his show on his channel. I still speak to Connor regularly. I'm in a group with him and Cal, and we're always talking about what we could be doing and chucking ideas about. And yeah, just stay tuned for New Year, mate, and see what's coming. Mr. V giving out gifted memberships as well. Incredible generosity from this man, as always. Joe Blade gets one, Potter J52 gets one, and Boats gets one as well. Thank you to Mr. Vancouver, as always. And Danny Chat giving you a round of applause. And Alan Smith with a £4 super chat. Thank you, mate. Saying Merry Christmas, Jim lad. Cheers. Merry Christmas to you and yours, Al. Thank you very much. Mark Meldrew with the final comment, as is. I go same team. No doubt Jord Motson's copied me again. He probably has, Meldrew. He probably has, mate. Right, okay, so we'll call it there. There may be a couple of comments coming just while I'm closing this, so I'll try and get to them if they do. But yeah, that is your countdown to kick off. And I cannot wait for it. But obviously, there's a little bit of something to get in the way of that. We are here with Hot Off the Presser tomorrow, so that'll be the final stream. But before we get to the Wrexham game, which if you don't already know, I think I've mentioned it once or twice, we're doing a watch-along for. So join us there on Boxing Day from 5 o'clock. But there is something in between that Boxing Day game, a huge event for a lot of people. I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. If you're not going to be able to join us tomorrow on the stream, then thank you for everything you've done for us this year. It's not quite the end of the year, I understand that, but I hope you all have a fantastic day with your friends and your loved ones and your family. So have a great time, and I will try my best to as well. I'm not quite finished yet, as you know, and for those of you that can join me tomorrow, I'll see you there for Hot Off the Presser. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. All the blades!
Shout